Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Show on the Gruely Truth Sports Network. The NFL Show is always powered. The Gruely Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or a sports book that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. Tonight, our topic going to be NFL quarterbacks headed into the 2022 season. How was that? I mean, it just seems like the other day it was 1984, Steve, but 2022. And, of course, we got Dan Kornhauser, whose camera's not working.
Telling me he has to reset his computer. I had to do it, too.
Reset your computer, Dan.
Yeah,
but
tell him to reset it, and it'll work.
All right, guys. Tonight, we're going to look at the top 10 quarterbacks.
Oh, by the way, I'm Steve Risley. I'm one of the
Well, I got to get to that. Hold on,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Steve.
I thought you already did.
No, we got the top 10 quarterbacks headed into
We're
the
out of sync. It's our
2022
first show
season.
in 3 months.
And, of course, most of them are going to be coming from the AFC. I am your co-host for the show, Mike Goodpaster. I've got my co-host, Steve Risley, 1981 national champion with the Indiana Hoosiers. And he is one of the co-hosts of the hottest shows in sports right now with the NASCAR Weekly Show with himself, Joe Spillman. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Great. And that show, of course, is the NASCAR show. It's on Friday post-race or Sunday post-race, right after the race. Within 30 minutes, we'll recap the show for about the race for about 30 minutes. And then Wednesday, we have our feature show where we'll kind of go over the silly season and all the news that have popped in from the things that have happened since Sunday to Wednesday. And then we'll preview the next race coming up. And you ought to really listen to it. It's entertaining, but it's also very informative. I'll tell you, Mike, if betting.net wants to do one of those little videos about NASCAR, I am hotter than a pistol. I mean, I have picked the winner and the last race, and I have had 4 of my 5 drive picks in the top 5 every time for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
All right, guys. So there you go. So we may have to add you to that show if you stay on that hot show.
Is there a NASCAR picking show that goes on?
Joe used to do one every week, but then he got sick.
They don't do it anymore.
He hadn't done it in a
sacked.
couple weeks. Dan, are you
know
there?
Why? Because they couldn't pick a top 10.
All right, Dan's got to figure out his thing. Dan, it's 8:05. Show started at 8. If you'd have been on at 7:55, we probably could have fixed this. But see if you can get on. All right, guys, we're going to look at the top 10 quarterbacks headed into the 2022 season. And I think probably the hottest topic right now is Deshaun Watson and whether he'll even be playing during the 2022 season. Hell, even if he's going to be playing during the 2023 season. So, Steve, when you did your top 10 rankings, did you include Deshaun Watson?
I had him on.
Put it like this: did you consider Deshaun Watson?
I considered Deshaun Watson, but then I think that all the material surrounding what he did and the fact that he's 99% not going to play football this year, he obviously would not be a candidate to be on anybody's top 10 list in my book. And I don't know. This is kind of almost like the Pete Rose thing. This thing is bad enough where I don't know if we just shouldn't be banished from football. Truthfully, didn't happen to 1 or 2. Partners. It happened to over 23 or 24 that have come forward. We don't even know how many more there are. So I know that an investigation's ongoing by the NFL, and I'm sure there's criminal charges being looked at too. But I don't think that Deshaun Watson should be on anybody's top 10 list right now, and he put himself in that position.
Well, the sad thing is we got owners like Robert Kraft who did pretty much the exact same thing, and nothing will happen to him at all. But this is not about what we think should happen to Deshaun Watson because we don't sit in on the court cases. The only thing we can do is we know that I don't think there's too many professional athletes that use different physical therapists all the time unless they're going to different cities they're playing in. These were all basically in the Houston, Texas area. There's a lot of stuff going on here. And the thing that's sad to me is the Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns, which means they obviously did not do their due diligence in doing this. And then they trade Baker Mayfield. So now, if what all the reports say that Deshaun Watson's going to be out for at least a year, now Jacoby Brissette I had a guy, Steve, that used to do a show with me that always called Jacoby Brissette Jacoby Brisket.
I think that was me. I think they still do the show with you.
Yeah, and Jacoby Brissette is a solid quarterback, but Brissette.
Mike, no, you have to understand. I had to labor for a full season with this guy as our starting quarterback. And I know we did good, but nobody had any confidence in this guy in his ability. We didn't win because of him. We just didn't lose badly because of him. So to put your faith and hopes on a rebuilding franchise like the Cleveland Browns, who 2 years ago were pegged for Super Bowl stardom, and now they just are back in the gutter of what's going to be one of the toughest divisions to play in the AFC, which is one of the toughest place to go play football. So they set themselves back. I think the dumb move was spending the money and what they did on Deshaun Watson. And the second dumbest move was just letting Baker Mayfield go because some people's feathers on both sides of the fence have been ruffled. I keep hearing about how pro football is a business, not a sport. Just because I don't like somebody means I can't work with that person.
Yeah, but you know what? If I'm Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson gets suspended for a year, that means I'm there for a year. And nobody wants me there. The fans turned on Baker Mayfield last year, and I think a lot of people forget there was injuries there with Baker Mayfield. Yeah. I don't think he's a great quarterback. There's Dan Kornhauser. How you doing, Dan?
I made it. I'm here. Yes, God. Woo!
I fixed it for you, didn't I, Dan?
All right. So when you considered your top 10 quarterbacks, did you consider Deshaun Watson? Not whether it was top 10, but did you consider it because you think he's not going to play?
I considered him because if he were playing a full season, he would be absolutely in my top 10, but he's not going to be in my top 10 in this exercise. I wouldn't
put him in my top 10. I wouldn't put him in my top 10 because he didn't even play last year. And it's really hard, and he's going to Cleveland, which we know is a hellhole. So nothing good comes from Cleveland. We're looking at our top 10 quarterbacks headed into the 2022 season. Dan, we'll let you start off with your number 10.
My number 10, I'm gonna have Dak Prescott as my number 10 quarterback. I think he definitely deserves to be up there. I would like for him to have some success in the playoffs, consider him moving up, but the talent is there when he's healthy. He had 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions last year, a 104 QB rating, and he has the pieces in Dallas to succeed if they can get their act together.
All right, Steve, your number 10?
My number 10 came down to two people, and Dak Prescott was the loser in the two I picked with. I went with number 10, Jimmy Garoppolo. I still like the style that guy plays. He's kind of a gunslinger quarterback. He's got a Super Bowl under his belt, took a team to the Super Bowl. I don't exactly know what his stats are. Dan, if you can rattle off Garoppolo's stats from last year. I know he's in a manufactured quarterback battle with some rookie they drafted now.
Well, it's Trey Lance. Last year in 15 starts, Jimmy Garoppolo, 68.3 percentage, 3,800 yards, 8.6 yard per attempt, which is pretty good. 20 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 51 rushing yards, 3 rushing TDs, 8 fumbles. And, of course, went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. He just missed the Super Bowl because of a late Rams comeback last year. And I know Dan probably hates your pick.
Dan's entitled to hate my pick. I hate the fact that Dan can't get on the air on time, too.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We can all hate everybody, something about everybody if we want to. But, no, I think Garoppolo's in the top 10 quarterback. I tell you, when the Colts were searching for a quarterback after punting Carson Wentz, me as a diehard Colts fan, never going anywhere without my Colts logo on. I got a Colts shirt on where the logo is. The logo's right here. I had to find it. Everything's backwards on this camera. I was begging and dying we would get Garoppolo, but obviously Indy's not a place Garoppolo wants to live. He's a little too much West Coast for that. So,
I think right now they probably can't afford Jimmy Garoppolo because they threw all that money at Deshaun Watson.
Well, they're going to be paying Carson Wentz forever. So,
all right, Steve, you're number 10. Oh, you said Jimmy Garoppolo. Number 10. All right.
You know how much he listens to us, Dan?
It's been a while since I've been on a show. All right.
Don't even listen to us.
My number 10 is Russell Wilson, who's now with the Denver Broncos. I think if he's healthy throughout the year, I think the Broncos will be a playoff contender. He's 30 years old. I think this. I think the big question is he ever going to get back to what he was a few years ago, Dan?
I would so especially in Denver, unlike Seattle, where 100 years old is so just they were very uninventive. They brought in the Rams quarterback coach I think he was the coordinator. They brought him their offensive coordinator to open things up because Russell Wilson said it was predictable. Mix it up. Not mix it up. They were still predictable. So in Denver, I don't think they're going to have that problem. Nathaniel Hackett, their head coach, comes from Green Bay. He is hopefully going to usher in some new blood out in Denver as well, because they also got stagnant under Vic Fangio last year. But he's going to have a very steady amount of weapons. And I know he had Locke in Seattle, and that's one of the top wide receiver duos in the league. Anything else wasn't there. The O-line was shoddy. The run game, they sized much with mediocre running backs. And they didn't have a time in Denver. He's going to be able to recognize things.
But they had no quarterback. I think it's really hard to blame Vic Fangio for what happened in Denver.
Lock is butt.
So
that's fair.
You like Drew
that
Lock.
That is definitely fair. I was on the Broncos last year.
You've been on the Broncos last year,
but no, I think
I think Russell,
now that he's in Denver, he should make more plays.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson elevates the Denver Broncos into a much higher threat in the AFC. He makes them a team you all of a sudden do not want to touch, because you're right, you guys. The key thing that they were missing last year was a quarterback. Most of that team is back intact, and it's a fiery team. And Wilson, the $10 question on him is just: is he durable enough? Is he over the hill? Is he too far gone? That time will tell, though. I think the guy's got some meat and heart left in him. So
All right, Steve, who's your number 9?
My number 9 is Lamar Jackson,
and
I think Lamar Jackson could be up that ranking a lot. Except I have to show a more consistency and a more thought process in his passing game. And I maybe blame the coaching staff on that more than I would blame him, much more, because I think they want him to run the ball, and he's so good at it. They think they're really their only offensive weapon, but that's going to eventually haunt him at some point in time. He's going to get hit by the wrong guy at the wrong time. And I think that I know he can throw the ball. I've seen him make incredible plays with his passing. But what I want to see is what Brady can do. And that's march a team down the field with short passes, with checkoffs, with dumps, with second and third targets and things like that. I don't see enough of that out of Lamar Jackson to rank him any higher.
I
do think he's worthy of it. And you guys have probably got him higher in your ranking, I know.
I don't have him there.
So, but I like him where he's at right now. But until he shows me he can manage a passing game, not just have one, I'm going to keep him right there at number 9.
See, I don't have Lamar Jackson in my top 10. 16 touchdowns, 13 interceptions last year. I think his vertical passing was fantastic early. His running numbers were outrageous. He took a ton of sacks. Not his fault. The offensive line was ravaged. But my issue with putting him in the top 10 is this. To be a top 10 quarterback, you have to have an offensive coordinator that is not still playing football like it's 1975. They don't have that. And they've not gotten him any wide receivers. I can tell you this. I think if you put him with the Cincinnati Bengals, he's a top 5 quarterback. But right now, for some reason, the Baltimore Ravens, when's the last time they had a big-time wide receiver, Dan? Steve Smith?
Derrick, when they signed him over from Tennessee, it's ugly out there. It really is.
Yeah, so I don't see how anybody could put Lamar top 10 just because the quality of the guys we've got in the top 10.
Come on, Mike, lay it on me. Give me one right off the bat.
Give you one what? I don't disagree. I think he is talented enough to be in the top 10. I don't think the situation he's in allows him to be.
I haven't earned it from you yet. That's sad.
Earned what?
You know what's coming.
What? Dumbass?
Dan knows what's coming.
Dumbass?
Yeah.
Not yet. All right.
See, that's what I mean. I haven't earned it yet.
All right. Well, maybe you're not a dumbass. My number 9. My number 9 is a guy I think is hugely underrated, and that's Derrick Carr. And I think that he improved again last season. I mean, last season he took an average Raiders team to the playoffs. They lost by a touchdown in the final seconds to the team that won the AFC Championship. They beat the Chargers and Justin Herbert. He outdueled him at the end in an overtime game. I think a lot of people underrate Derrick Carr, Steve. Do you have him on your top 10 or not?
No, I do not. And
what
I
just dumbass.
And I wish I had him because I miss him. I just flat out going through my list. That's a mistake on my part, a rookie mistake, because I do think he belongs in the top 10. Unfortunately, now I've submitted my list, and I don't have anywhere to put him. But I love the way Derek Carr plays football. And I think he's been the biggest factor in the resurgence of the Raiders and his play. As long as he stays healthy, I think he's really sparking that team and leading them and got that whole city really fervently behind that team. So that's a great pick. I would think, really thinking about it, I might move him ahead of some other players I had if I had him on my list. So that's a full call on my part.
I'll tell you one player. There's one player he should be ahead. It's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Ahead of what?
Carr should be ahead of Jimmy.
Well, he would have
dropped Jimmy off the list.
He was.
There's no way you drop Jimmy off the list unless you just know nothing about football.
Jimmy sucks, and I will not stop the slander on this show.
Well, you know what? This is the thing. If you stick with a bad horseshit take, you just look like an idiot.
Nah, you're the only jabroni who thinks he's still good. It's a joke. It's awful. Burrow being your top quarterback is one thing. That I can actually get on board with. But Jimmy Garoppolo in the top 10? It's absurd.
So I don't have him in the top 10, by the way.
I know that, but your love for him just repulses me.
I would have him at number 11 or 12. It may repulse you, but you're a fan of the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff's your guy, so it's probably best to be quiet.
Jared Goff.
I mean, this is the thing. Who was it that brought up Dak Prescott already? Was it Dan right away, right? And Dan, what is the thing you said that held Dak Prescott back and kept him at 10?
Was his inability to perform in the playoffs.
Okay, Jimmy Garoppolo has won multiple playoff games. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been to an NFC Championship game twice in 3 years. I mean, so you would rather have Dak Prescott, who can run around, flashy as hell during the season, does all these big things, but in the playoffs he loses, or you'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo, who is nothing spectacular, but he wins. There's a lot to be said for a guy that just wins.
My retort will be 2 parts. One, the fact that the 49ers traded several first-round picks to move up to 3rd overall to take his replacement
shows you how stupid the 49ers are.
Should tell you exactly where he stands currently in the NFL, number one. And number 2, I would rather go with a guy like Dak Prescott, who has the potential to light it up, than a guy in Jimmy Garoppolo who
did it.
Yes, he wins, but in the playoffs, his teams win in spite of him. Let's not get it confused. Hold on, let's not get it confused.
In spite of him.
Let's not act like Jimmy Garoppolo is out there playing mistake-free football, getting key first downs, executing in the red zone, because he isn't. I think he's had one good postseason game. All the other ones have either been wildly mediocre to the point where it looks like he shouldn't be in that game, or he does a stupid pick late in the game that his team has to cover his ass for. His winning record in the playoffs is one thing, but don't get it twisted. He's not winning the games for his team. The team is winning the games for him.
So let me ask you this. Do you think he has anything to do with his team making the playoffs?
Yes, because during the regular season, and I even said this last year, despite all my hate of Jimmy Garoppolo, I am willing to accept when he plays well. And he did play well for certain stretches last season. I can't front. I mean, he played well against the 26-23. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't great. Couple touchdowns, no picks.
But we're not talking about him
rating.
being elite. We're talking about a guy that's just good enough to sit on the outside of the top 10.
I would still probably put at least 13 guys ahead of Jimmy at this point. Minimum.
So would you put a guy like Carson Wentz ahead of him?
Absolutely not. Carson Wentz is atrocious. I would put outside my top 10. I would probably still put Cousins, Lamar Jackson, Murray. I mean, at the very least, I'm putting those guys ahead of him.
Well, I can tell you this. When you do look at the stats, he's played 2 complete seasons because he has had some injury issues. Those 2 complete seasons, he won an NFC championship. He lost an NFC championship. He threw for almost 4,000 yards in both, and he threw 47 touchdowns and 24 interceptions in those 2 complete seasons with a passer rating for his 2 complete seasons of 100. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean,
all right, so we've established you're the dumbass tonight. Who do you have at number 9, Dan?
My back is Derrick Carr. I love everything he did. And for me, I just wish the Raiders were not so dysfunctional, because I think that was part of the problem last year. And even despite the John Gruden BS, the Henry Ruggs BS, the changing of coaches in the middle of the season, which, I mean, can be catastrophic if things go the wrong way. Just everything. I mean, even dealing with injuries to Waller, his top target in a passing game outside of Hunter Renfrow.
That was the big one to me. And to still be able to go to Indianapolis and beat the Colts, to beat the Chargers, and to damn near win a playoff game. I think they had Waller back for the playoff game. But to beat a good Colts team in Indy and a good Chargers team at home to make it to the playoffs without Waller, I mean, to me, that was the most impressive thing about Carr. My worry here is they had the correct coach at the end of last year. And now they've switched for Josh McDaniels, who we already know has failed in the NFL. And he failed miserably drafting Tim Tebow in the first round.
Tim Tebow.
Man, but what the hell? Hey, right now, head over now and see for yourself. Betting.net makes it easy to find all of the legal online casinos or sportsbook in your state. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. All right, my number 8. I'm going to go where Steve's already went. I'm going to go at number 8. I'm going to go Dak Prescott. I really like Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott's issue is not winning playoff games, because that's a given. Because Jerry Jones owns his team and Mike McCarthy coaches it. So I don't think there's a damn thing Dak Prescott can do. He threw for 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I mean, really, if you look at his stats, you know, he was really good. I think those stats are a little inflated because he did put up the 250 burgers in the last 3 weeks, ending a slump. But I think when I look at Dak Prescott, if you put him in a place where he had a coach and an owner that were not complete, utter trash, I think Prescott has footwork that is second to none damn near in the NFL right now. And his ability to make throws under pressure, I mean, I think is top 5 also. I really think this. If Dak Prescott was in Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City, hell, Miami, you put Dak Prescott in Miami right now with the group they've got, they're an immediate Super Bowl contender. So I think Dak Prescott's that good. So I'm not blaming his not winning playoff games just because of what he's got around him. Dan, you're number 8.
My number 8, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. And I just want people to remember that, last season in Seattle was forgettable. It was just unimpressive on all fronts, not only for the franchise, but for Russell Wilson. He only threw 25 touchdowns, his lone since 2016. But let's not forget, in 2020, in 16 games, now again, he never missed a game in his career up until this past season. So I'm going to assume he's going to get back to his healthy ways, especially behind a much better offensive line than anything he ever had in Seattle. But let's not forget, in 2020, he threw for 4,200 yards plus and 40 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. He had a 105 QB rating and, completed 69 giggity% of his passes. And those are superstar numbers. The year before that, 35 TDs to 7 picks, 34 the year before to 11. So Russell knows how to air it out. And this man is not afraid to push it downfield, and his accuracy is still up there with the best of them. I think Denver, now that they have a legitimate quarterback with that defense and that ground game, as long as their receiving weapons stay healthy, which was a problem for them last year as well, as long as their receiving weapons stay healthy, I think Russell Wilson's primed for a big year. The AFC West is going to be crazy. Absolutely insane.
I don't think it will. I think that it's basically going to be the Chargers running away with it.
They might. They're the most talented team on paper.
Well, I just think this. I think the Raiders have issues on defense. I think they have some issues on the offensive line. I think the Broncos have issues. They've got a new coach. I think the Chiefs have major issues. I think that's a team that has regressed. They lost Tyreek Hill. I think that people are overrating it. Plus the fact that if all those teams are that good, at least two of them are going to have records around 500, if not worse, just because they got to play the other ones. Or they're all going to sit between 7 and 10 wins. But I could see Denver doing it. I'm just not going to buy it yet, just like I told you that last year. Because I think that the roster is not as great as what people think it is. But, all right, number 8 for Steve.
Simple. I went with Russell Wilson also at number 8 for all the reasons already given. I just think the big question for me with Russell Wilson is not does he not have the talent to do it, just is he at a point in his life where he has the energy and the strength, the energy and the age protection to do it. Coming back off of a dismal year and still, he had a thumb injury last year. Is he prone to injury now, or has he got 1 or 2 more good years in him?
Well, he was prone to having a horrible offensive line that for some reason Pete Carroll would never fix.
Yes. I know that will fix.
How many teams draft first-round running backs with a bad offensive line?
Yeah, he could easily. The Colts have done that, but it panned out. Russell Wilson at number 8. I think he could be ranked higher, but given the entire situation of him going into Denver, a new team, where he's played his entire career in Seattle, going to have a little bit of effect on him. I don't know how much the altitude is going to play in him. Have to play in that every week or every home week at least. So we'll see. I hope he has a monster year. I do, because I like Russell Wilson. I really like his wife. So
yeah, she's nice.
She's all right.
She's all right.
God.
He's all right.
Misogynistic pigs. Hey, remember, it's not just sports betting. Betting.net compares the best online casinos. Sit back, relax, play the top online slots, poker, and table games. Also, our top-rated sportsbook for this show is DraftKings. Go in the link in the description. If you're watching the video on YouTube or you're watching on Facebook, make sure you click on the DraftKings to make all your futures sports bets. All right, guys, number 7. Dan?
Number 7, I'm going to put Justin Herbert. And I wanted to put him higher, but I can't. I just can't do it. And the reason, playoffs. You got to make the dance. I can't put somebody who doesn't make the dance any higher than where I have him. And the only reason I have him there ahead of Wilson, ahead of Carr, is because he is so damn talented. The talent is evident on tape. You watch it, you see the throws, you see the pocket presence, you see the leadership. The guys on offense buy in. The stats were right, over 5,000 yards passing last season, 38 touchdowns. I want him to stop throwing picks. For some reason, he got a little cute at certain points. And I don't know, maybe it's just because he's young. Because it's not for lack of the scheme sucks or he doesn't have talent around him or, whatever. The offense is not the issue. It's just maybe he's just got some growing pains to work through. He's got that gunslingering He knows he can make any throw that any of the other quarterbacks can make in this league. So maybe he gets a little too ahead of himself. But I'd like to see him take that next step, throw less interceptions, get this team to the playoffs. Yes, the Chargers had a lot of injury problems, but they always have injury problems, and everybody else has injury problems. The best of the best get past those problems and still win games and get to the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm going to go ahead and give my number 7 because it's the same as yours, which is Justin Herbert. And I think he is wildly talented. But the thing that concerns me, Dan, is there are certain games against the better defenses with the better defensive coordinators that really give him issues. And back-to-back last year, October 31st against the New England Patriots, they lose 27-24 at home. He's 18 for 35 and throws 2 picks. The very next week, they go to Baltimore. Baltimore was depleted on offense. Baltimore beating 34-6. He was 22 of 39, threw another interception, and after the game, he made a comment that Baltimore was doing stuff he could not figure out. Now, that same Baltimore defense the next week at home plays Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow throws for 500 yards. So, I mean, to me, it's one thing if you throw in picks in your rookie season. He threw more picks last year in his second season than he did in the first season. And it wasn't even close. It was 15 picks last year, just 10 the year before. And if you remember the year before, against the Patriots team that was not very good, I think it was at home there also. He lost 45-0 and threw 3 or 4 interceptions. So to me, I think he has great arm strength. He's got everything. My question is, and I watched this when he was in college, when Oregon played Auburn, he looked like he was just average. When Oregon played Washington State, he looked like a stud. So my question is, and this is my complaint about him, I think he is a front runner. I think when things are tough, I think he will fold. And I think that is going to be the story of his career. The Chargers have one of the 5 best rosters in the NFL. I think they'll win their division. But when it comes playoff time, if he's got to go to Buffalo or Cincinnati, do you really trust him to win the game against a really good defense in bad weather on the road in Buffalo or Cincinnati in front of 70,000 screaming drunk fans? That's my question with him. And until he can answer that question positively, and I mean, you could say he didn't have the team to do it the last few years. That's fine. But neither did the Raiders. And Derrick Carr won the game. I know Justin Herbert played awesome in that game. It wasn't his fault they lost it. But it was his fault because of that loss to the Patriots at home was horrible last year. Because I really don't think the Patriots were that good. The Patriots got by because they got Bill Belichick. So that's my question there. Steve, who do you got at number 7?
Well, I'll go back to Herbert. This is only his 3rd year in the league, and I mean he's coming up on
his 3rd year in the league.
Year. Okay, give the guy a chance to develop a little bit. I mean, it
this is
to
the
me,
thing.
Tell me, he threw for 3,800 yards his rookie year.
Okay,
over 4,000 last year. He's got good growing numbers. He had 98% quarterback rating. This is off the top of my head. I'm not pulling it up on the screen because I'm a little bit of a Herbert fan. Matter of fact, I was contemplating getting a Herbert jersey, but I'm living by your credo. I'm never buying a jersey again with some other man's name on the back.
Because if you buy your own name, you won't get traded.
And wait till the season starts. You will see that happen.
You're going to get traded? Is Tia tired?
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
That'd be fine with me. 38 years is a long time. So.
Obviously, Tia doesn't watch the shows.
No, thank God she doesn't. That was a joke anyway, people. Don't get on me. But I just in Herbert's defense, it's only coming into his 3rd year. I understand, but he's being taught. He's learning. He's learning how to read defenses. That crap, Joe Burrow, you can't compare everybody to Joe Burrow, Mike, because Joe Burrow's an icon god already.
But coming out, most people thought Justin Herbert was the better of the two.
You can ramble or talk all you want to. I say
ramble.
Herbert or Burrow's one of those guys that just like Manning, like Brady, more like Manning than Brady because Brady wasn't even that good when he first came out, but Manning was, and you got to put him in that same kind of category. Totally different players. But just Herbert.
Well, Steve, that's not a good comparison because Manning, his first season, threw like
I'm
30
saying the player
interceptions.
that had pretty much instant success. He
Dan
went
Marino.
0-13 the first year. The second
Tom
year,
Brady
he went
had
13-3.
instant success. I mean,
When
Tom
he got
Brady's
the
first year as a
quarterback.
starter, he won a Super Bowl.
I know, but he didn't start until like his second or third year. So I'm saying he had time to develop and learn playing behind another quarterback.
Now, you don't learn by
so
watching.
I'm just saying this is a pivotal year for Herbert to where he gets on ranking sheets.
But you really don't learn by watching.
I'm looking at his potential. I think this is a retooled football team. And I think this is a team that's really being considered now as a Super Bowl contender.
So is Justin Herbert your number 7?
No, he's not. Aaron Rodgers is.
Oh, okay.
So Aaron Rodgers, to me, I just think is how he got the MVP last year is a little bit behind me.
Why? You don't like that, Dan?
I just, I think Aaron Rodgers is sliding far down his mountain as top quarterback. Guys, that's put on air, so I'd be careful with that.
It's really not. It's why it says private, dipshit.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's all I'm going to say. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know his numbers. Don't know that his numbers matter. I'm trying to keep this clean,
Dude, nobody sees anything. They wouldn't know anything if you would just be quiet and keep talking.
Okay. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers to me, just as he's lost his receivers. I don't think I think Green Bay's out of it. They're going to win the division because that stupid conference division they play in is pathetically poor. The NFC Central or whatever it is. It used to be the black and blue division.
It still is. They called it the black and blue division because nobody could score. It may be that again now.
Yeah, it may be. That's true. Maybe. So my number 7, you guys can all add in yours, is Aaron Rodgers.
All right. I think we already did our 7, didn't we? So we're up to number 6, Dan?
That's right.
I will start off with 6 because I've got Aaron Rodgers also at number 6. I know a lot of people think that's crazy, but hell, a lot of people think I'm crazy. So, Dan, what do you got at number 6?
Number 6, I have Matt Stafford. And I thought really strongly about putting him 5th ahead of my number 5 quarterback. But I couldn't do it because my number 5 quarterback is so damn good and showed out this past year. But Stafford's good, man. I've been a huge fan of Stafford his whole career, and it goes beyond him being a Lions quarterback. I had to defend this guy when he was in Detroit. All those years hearing, he sucks, he's not quite right. He does just throw it to Calvin. He doesn't do anything special. This guy.
Now, being a typical Lion fan, he wins the Super Bowl. Now you're going to shit on him. Go ahead.
Nah, hell no. Nah, he won the Super Bowl. I should have put him higher. I should have him in my top.
I know you should.
But I didn't. And the reason is everyone ahead of him either already had a chip and has just been building their greatness from there, or I have them as like the next up kind of a thing. So I'm going to have Stafford number 6, 41 touchdowns, 17 picks, Super Bowl winner. I love me some Stafford, but I'm going to have him at 6.
Well, as Dan would say, that's disgusting. All right. Steve, who do you got at number 6?
I can make this easy on you guys. I got Herbert at number 6. So we've already debated him and talked about him, but he was my number 6 position quarterback right now. Based largely on potential, not necessarily. I think he's had great individual years passing and growth, but you're right. The team has faltered twice now, and they're going to have to get over that hump this year because they have a monkey on their back now. They're expected to win. He's going to be expected to perform great every week now, and not just when he feels like it or when his mind lets him play good. He's got to learn to read these defenses and learn the trickery that goes on with the defenses in the NFL. So it's a make or break year for Herbert, but that's my number 6 pick.
All right, my number 5 is Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. I think that he has regressed over the last 2 years. I think teams have defended him differently. I think teams have gone a lot more cover 3, cover 4, kept everything in front of him. And, I mean, Tyreek Hill was turned into a possession receiver last year. The issue here, though, is now you lose Tyreek Hill. You lose the guy that blows the top off the defense. And to me, and we'll go to Dan for his number 5 next because I know Dan loves Patrick Mahomes. But for me, Patrick Mahomes is a guy that I don't think has progressed over the last 2 or 3 years. And I think more importantly, he's going to be impacted by the loss of some of his weapons on offense. I still don't think they've fixed the defense. The Chargers and the Broncos and the Raiders have all gotten better. I don't think the Chiefs make the playoffs this year, Dan.
Wow. I mean, with the gauntlet that the AFC West is, it could definitely happen. Like you said, the Chargers on paper look better. The Broncos with Russell Wilson are a threat.
How about
Derrick
this,
Carr
Dan?
with
I don't
Raiders,
think
as long
the
as
Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs, Dan. I don't think the Chiefs would win any division in the AFC.
That's
strong.
That's just awful.
How's it
that's
awful?
A strong statement.
They're not going to win the AFC North. They're not going to win the AFC East. Buffalo's better. I think the Indianapolis Colts are better than the Kansas City Chiefs.
Thank you.
Nah, I think that's
when
close,
you look at
but
wait a
then
second. When you look at the teams, who's got the better running game?
Indianapolis.
Colts.
Who's got the better O-line?
Indianapolis.
Colts.
The wide receivers, I think, with the addition of Pierce, you've already got Pittman. I mean, the wide receivers of Kansas City are not that good now. You got a bunch of guys that had one good year, or a bunch of guys that everybody thought would be great that really haven't been. And defensively, the Colts are so much better than the Chiefs. It's not even close, Dan. The only position you can give me where they are definitely better is a quarterback. And I'm telling you this, Matt Ryan is one of the top 20 quarterbacks in NFL history. I mean, Matt Ryan, if he would have been put in Kansas City in his first year, would have probably, with Andy Reid, would have probably won 4 or 5 Super Bowls in his career. And really, if you don't have the dumbass play calling of Kyle Shanahan and the head coaching of Dan Quinn, he would be a Super Bowl champion right now. So I don't think that you should shake your head and tell me something's disgusting when it's really not. You're just not really thinking it through.
Nah, I mean, Mahomes is. See, here's the thing: when you're so good,
like you're so good. I love when you do that. You sound like a
when you're so good, like Mahomes has been. I mean, he's done things. He's done things on a truly special level.
Oh, I know. He won a Super Bowl.
It goes.
Who's ever done that? Joe Flacco?
It goes beyond his physical talents because he won the MVP in his first year as a starter. I know. It's a popularity contest, Mike. I know.
Because it is.
Regardless, keep that same energy.
Tom Brady would have won last year. I don't really care. I hate to tell you this, but I don't give 2 shits if Joe Burrow ever wins an MVP.
Well, that's fine. That aside,
I only care if he wins the Super Bowl.
That aside, he's got an MVP already. He's got a Super Bowl win. He's been to the AFC Championship 4 straight years.
And
he's
lost
got
2
Super Bowl appearances in 4 years. He's got 2 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years with a ring. I mean,
and an ass beat.
When you're this good, when you throw 50 touchdowns your first year as a season, of course you're only going to go down from there.
He was not a rookie, by the way.
No, but it was his first year as a starter.
Yeah.
And to do that is spectacular. So, yeah, only throwing 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 13 picks, which was a career high for him, is 13 picks. You think, oh, man, yeah, he's falling off. But anybody else, damn near any other quarterback in the NFL, goes 37 and 13, which, I mean, they'll take that. Let's be honest.
Well, let's be honest. If you watch him now compared to 3 or 4 years ago with teams playing him differently, he does not throw the hot route very well. And he has issues with a lot of things. And I think his decision-making is not the greatest in the world. I mean, the perfect example of that is he lost his team the AFC Championship game because he decided to throw a pass to Tyreek Hill at the 2-yard line at the end of the first half against the Bengals. It lost them that game. And that's an inexcusable error. It's inexcusable by Andy Reid. It's inexcusable by the offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. It's inexcusable by Patrick Mahomes. You do not throw that ball in the field of play. You throw it away and then kick the field goal.
You're not wrong, but playmakers try to make plays. That's what he did.
Hey, so who's your number 5? Because we can argue this when we get to Patrick Mahomes, who you probably have rated plus 15.
So my number 5 is Joe Burrow. And he could very well He could very well sit at the top of this list at the end of the season.
He very well
But for
does
right now,
dumbass.
But for right now, he doesn't. Because he doesn't
yeah.
have that shit.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have the accolades. And yes, he turned it on in the second half of last season. He averaged 8.9 yards per attempt. He's completed 70% of his passes. The stats
with no
are nice.
offensive line.
No offensive line. Me at left tackle. His
got sacked 9 times in a playoff game and still won. Went to Kansas City against the immortal fucking Patrick Mahomes. Down 21-3, and he done whooped his ass as Patrick Mahomes threw 2 picks in the fourth quarter and the overtime. All right? And everybody will rip Ryan Tannehill a new asshole. Ryan Tannehill did the same damn thing Patrick Mahomes did. And you know what the difference is? Everybody loves Patrick Mahomes because he smiles and he's got a cute haircut. Fuck that. Joe Burrow kicked his ass twice last year. He came from behind by 17 points on one occasion. He came from behind by 18 points on the other occasion. My other point on Joe Burrow is this. Joe Burrow didn't sit out his first year like Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow played really well, would have been the MVP, but he got hurt. He destroyed his ACL in November. All right? He had no OTAs because of COVID. He had no OTAs because he wasn't healthy enough to play yet. To start of his season, the first 8 games, he did good enough to keep him in contention until he got healthy. Once he did, he kicked everybody's ass. And the thing is, everybody always says, well, that guy was just in his first year. Justin Herbert, just his second year. The first full season for Joe Burrow with full OTAs will be this fucking year. And you just ignore that. You know, he kicked Patrick Mahomes' ass twice. You ignore that. He played with no offensive line. Name me a quarterback who's been sacked 9 times in a playoff game that won that playoff game. On the road. Against the number 1 seed. And then he goes down 18 points to the Kansas City Chiefs, and everybody said the game was over. And you know what? Last year, before the Bengals played the Chiefs, in that regular season game, and I'm sure Steve remembers this, I told you the Bengals would beat the Chiefs because they were better than the Chiefs. And you told me I was gross, stupid, and sick. And then it happened. And then the second time around,
take on Joe Burrow is I still think your love for Joe Burrow is homer and sick and gross.
It's this is the thing. Hey, shut the fuck up for a second, all right? You had your turn. You be quiet, bearded one. All right, so when we're sitting here, all right,
I agree with you.
I'm not a homer because of this. You could go.
You are a homer.
You're a homer.
You're a big homer.
There's nothing you can say that can defend it. You're a homer.
Okay, this is how I would defend it. When he was at LSU, I wrote an article you can find on the Grueling Truth saying that someday he would be a Hall of Fame quarterback. That was before the Bengals ever had the number 1 pick. That's before we knew he was going first. So I don't want to hear that shit. And you know what? I said the same shit about Andrew Luck. And it would have been true if the Colts would have got him an offensive line. The difference here is this. The Bengals went out and got him an offensive line. Yeah, all right? So if the injury level is not terrible, he will have another great season. And the Bengals, whatever team Joe Burrow's on for the next 15 years, will have a shot to win a Super Bowl. And he'll win multiple Super Bowls. And you can take your Patrick Mahomes doll and shove it up your ass because I'm tired of hearing it. You know, maybe Patrick Mahomes this year can go to Cincinnati and not choke and throw picks.
Well, maybe I should have put Stafford above Burrow because Stafford beat Burrow heads up.
I would have absolutely. Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? Quit acting like there's a set of nuts in front of your mouth. And what I want you to do is I want you to listen to me. I have no issue if Matt Stafford is number 1 on this list. I have no issue if Josh Allen is number 1 on this list. I have no issue if Tom Brady's number 1 on this list. To me, the top 4 quarterbacks on this list are all interchangeable. I have no issue with any of those 4 being number 1. I think that it is very sad that you sat and watched Matthew Stafford all those years as a Lions fan and know that he's probably the toughest one of the 5 toughest son of a bitches to ever play quarterback in the history of the NFL, and you're going to rank him at number 6. You put Matt Stafford in the situation Patrick Mahomes had, he'd have probably had 4 straight Super Bowls at the start of his career because he's a tough son of a bitch. He threw 17 picks last year, but you know what Matt Stafford did? You know, he went and he kicked the Cardinals' ass. He came from 10 points down in the NFC Championship game to win the NFC Championship. In the Super Bowl, he takes the Rams the length of the field and throws a touchdown pass with about a minute left to win the freaking Super Bowl.
That's what he does.
So the fact that Matt Stafford would be ranked out of the top 5 by anybody blows my mind. But since it's considering that it's you, it's just sick, disgusting, and gross, you bearded bitch. Did you give us your number 5 yet?
Yeah, I said 5 is Burrow.
Oh, yeah, that's why you're an idiot. All right, Steve, did you give us a number 5 yet?
Not yet.
No. You don't let anybody say a word. Hey, Dan, this is a big democracy on this show.
There's no democracy
We're
here.
all going to vote and with this.
I can get 2 people to replace you guys in 5
Mike Goodpaster
minutes.
Homer show is what this is.
It's not a Homer show.
I knew it'd be bad as soon as we got the Burrow.
Wait a second. No.
I knew it'd be bad.
No, it's not bad. It's bad because he's dumb enough to put him below Mahomes. If he'd have put him below the other 3, I would have no problem with that. It's not a Homer show.
Good. You're not going to have a problem with me. Thank God. My wife's going to call me a dumbass when she walks in for something I didn't do today.
All right, dumbass. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Patrick Mahomes.
There you go. All right, who's your number 4, Steve? Let's just go ahead and speed this up.
My number 4 is Matt Stafford. I think that guy.
Hey, I completely agree, by the way. That's my number 4. Also.
How he labored in Detroit for so long and came right to L.A.
Hey, Steve, keep talking with Dan. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. Oh, wait, I took the wrong person off. Oh, there we go. Go ahead. No, I took the wrong person off again. It won't let me go off the show because it knows it'll go off the rail.
Just go take your shit and go. Oh, God. I think that Matt Stafford, I fell in love with him last year. I was a fan of his. I thought he was but you never knew it because he never got a chance to really excel or get in the playoffs or do things in Detroit. Plus, Detroit's hard. I know that's your homer team. But I'm sad that you guys lost him. But the fact that he went to LA and immediately took that team to a Super Bowl championship, I think just speaks of how good this guy, how recognized he would have been had this happened to him a lot sooner in his career. So, you know, I feel bad. I mean, he's a steady Eddie, move the chains kind of quarterback. I mean, he'll do what he has to do to win games for his team, and his quiet, strong leader. So Matt Stafford to me, outside of the big 3, I think he's right there with him. And I think he's not the only Super Bowl the Rams are going to win as long as he's quarterback.
All right. I think he's number 4 also. I doubt he wins another Super Bowl. I think losing Von Miller's a killer. And that rhymed, which makes it even cooler. But it's according to what happens over the next few years. He is getting up there in age. He's taking some beatings. I'm just happy he finally got someplace where he could show people exactly how good he is.
Why'd you cut Dan off?
I cut Dan off. No, I didn't. Dan lost it there. He said he'll be right back.
Oh.
He's got more important things to do. But that's okay.
All right.
So do I. All right. So, Dan, did he give us his number 4?
No. We're going to have to wait on him. Keep talking about Stafford.
We're not going to wait on him. I got shit to do. All right. Joseph Michael says WTF. Why is Joseph Michael saying WTF?
Because we don't do this kind of talking on NASCAR radio. We're all very sensitive to his sensitivity and not being able to take cracks, and like you can dole it out. Dan and I can take it without any problem. We just laugh at it. Joe starts crying and gets angry and starts coming back tries to be a junior you. So I think I'm going to start calling him. I'm going to call him Little Mikey. I'm going to start calling him Little Mikey on the NASCAR show.
He can't be me. All right. Hey, remember this. If you're Joe Spillman and you want to bet on some racing, you can head over now and see for yourself. Betting.net makes it easy to find all the legal online casinos or sports books in your state. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. And remember, our top-rated sports book for this show, the NFL show, is DraftKings. Make sure you click on the link in the description below on the YouTube video or on the Facebook video. All right, Steve, let's go ahead and move to number 3. Number 3. What do you got at number 3?
And like you said, Mike, to me, the top, I don't think I could include Stafford in this group of the top 3.
Wait, real quick, Dan, did you give us number 4?
No, you did not.
4, Patty Mahomes. Simple.
Okay.
That's
Who
it.
you got at
I
number
don't wanna say
3,
anymore.
Steve?
Number 3, again, I think any 3 of the next people we're going to call out are interchangeable depending on if you are a homer or you like somebody because of what they've done all the time or you like that geography of the country. I went with number 3, Joe Burrow, simply because he just doesn't have the tenure in the league that the other 2 quarterbacks do. Although he has great success, he did come back from as many almost defeats of any
Now,
quarterback.
let me ask you this real quick. You don't have Josh Allen in the top 2, then, do you?
Yes.
So that makes no sense
Why?
because Josh Allen's never won anything. And he's only been in, and really his years, it took him 3 or 4 years.
I measure it by potential. I think Joe Burrow.
Oh, so you think Josh Allen has more potential? Okay,
no,
that's cool.
I said you can interchange him. I just think right now, Allen's got a little more seasoning on him, a little more tenure, and we will see. But Burrow certainly is not going to surprise me if Burrow gets.
Then why don't you have Jacoby Brissette in there? He's been seasoned like a son of a bitch.
Yeah, and he's been eaten and spit out too by most teams. So, it's okay. I told you the top 3 are interchangeable. Don't give me shit about it. I'm not going to take it.
I'm not giving you shit about it. Did I even call you a dumbass?
You're lucky because I fucking hate the Bengals now because they've carved into the Colts territory. They're carving in now.
No,
they're
didn't.
too close.
Are you a moron? The Indianapolis Colts were in Baltimore until 1984. The Bengals have been in this territory since 1968.
They're getting more play than the Colts are, and that pisses me off.
They're getting more play because they're good.
They're a better team right now, guaranteed. So, but that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm still my homerness says I don't like the Bengals. They're our rivals now.
I hate the Colts because the Colts are better.
That's fine. You can hate the Colts.
I don't really hate the
No
Colts.
problem.
Why would I hate a team I'm not worried about? All right, number 3.
So I got Joe Burrow at number 3. Easily could be number 2 or number 1, but the way I see the potential for Burrow is unlimited, and I think it's someday next year we may be putting him in the number 1 spot and never looking back for as long as his career lasts.
I know Dan doesn't believe that, but who do you got at number 3, Dan?
I've got Aaron Rodgers at number 3.
You can't even say his name right.
Yes, his
I know who Aaron is too.
Yes, his playoffs are disappointing. Yes,
he's a good shortstop.
Yes, he's only won 1 Super Bowl, and that was a decade ago. But the man's on fire. Individually, he just does whatever he wants to do. 37 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions.
Why didn't he do individually that stuff in the playoffs?
Well, playoffs, you're not playing a bunch against the bums. You're not playing the Lions twice. You're not playing the Bears twice.
So right now, you're kind of killing your argument.
Your argument, exactly.
Yeah, you
no.
are.
So his playoffs aren't quite right, but he does whatever he wants during the season. His stats are right. All the Packers do is win. It's not like they don't win and they don't get a shot. They make the dance.
In the playoffs?
You can't win them all. You can't win it always.
They don't win any of them.
Well, you can't win them all.
Aaron Rodgers lost to Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFC Championship game.
Bob Knight used to say it's better to keep your mouth shut and let people think you're an idiot and to open it.
Open your mouth, Dan. Remember
when
you're
opening your mouth and proving you're an idiot.
Yeah.
So Steve has Jimmy Garoppolo in his top 10, and neither one of you has Rodgers in your top 5. If anyone here is an idiot, it sure as hell ain't me. It's definitely one of you 2 jabronis. Get that straight.
No, he didn't do crap in the playoffs last year. You can't win a big game anymore.
I don't care. Rodgers is going to go down.
He loses to who did he lose to at home?
Rodgers is going to go down.
Frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. They were the number 1 ranked team in the NFC, and he couldn't get it done.
The Packers weren't quite right.
Who beat him in Green Bay?
Answer the question that's been asked of you, Dan.
What happened? What was the question?
No, who beat him in Green Bay for the playoffs last year?
I don't remember.
Who did, Mike? You got it up there.
I'm waiting for Dan to answer because he damn well knows.
I don't remember.
Dan?
Who was it?
Was it the Bengals? No, it wasn't the Bengals because they're in the AFC.
It was the 49ers, I believe.
The 49ers. A warm weather team comes into the frozen tundra against the best quarterback, the MVP, and they smash a warm weather team, mind you. Okay, this is a team that's not used to playing in the frozen tundra.
Hey, another one that's interesting is Jimmy Garoppolo. November 25th of 2019 against Aaron Rodgers won 37-8. Garoppolo was 14 of 20 for 278 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 37-8 blowout where Aaron Rodgers threw 3 picks. Yeah. It also seems to me that every time Aaron Rodgers' team plays Jimmy Garoppolo's team, Jimmy Garoppolo wins. And Aaron Rodgers, get this stat, Steve. You want to hear an interesting stat?
Yes, I do.
Aaron Rodgers is 0-2 in the playoffs against Jimmy Garoppolo. And, I mean, you know what I like to call Aaron is Aaron Rodgers, because he gets his ass beat when it matters. And, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo owns him.
Jimmy Garoppolo does own him, Dan.
You know how I know you're a dumb,
you know how to get at it.
You're so stupid. They won 13-10. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo won head-to-head. Oh, my God. Yeah, he won 11 of 19 for 131 yards and 4 picks. Then he got sacked 4 times. His team won in spite of him again.
Wait a second. So you're telling me this. You're telling me that Jimmy Garoppolo was so bad that he won because Aaron Rodgers was even freaking worse.
Well,
you told me the final
score
was 13-10.
I mean, unless 11 of 19 for 100 and a pick is good to you, I don't think that's good. Am I missing something? Oh,
Aaron Rodgers scored.
Oh, Jimmy's so good, sir.
Oh, you look like an idiot when you do that.
Dan, I'm the only one. I slid Garoppolo in at number 10. Shut up. I slid Garoppolo in at number 10.
I don't want to hear about Jimmy top 10. He's not even in the top 20.
Number one, I never put Jimmy top 10. And if you're saying he's not top 20, you're a dumbass. Go ahead, Steve.
I can't. Rodgers is chump change to be number 3. No way. His time's come and gone.
Crazy.
He's done. Oh, he'll come out fire in the next first 8 games of the season. He'll look like an all-star and MVP again. And then he'll start to slow down. And come playoff time, he'll be puking on himself. They may even get the NFC.
They won't make the playoffs.
Number 1 seed again.
No, they won't
make the playoffs this year.
They won't. The Minnesota Vikings.
If they're relying on Aaron Rodgers to do it for him, you know what really pisses me off?
You got to win in the playoffs.
Aaron Rodgers dumped Danica Patrick, and that doesn't sit well with me because I'm a racing fan.
I mean, short of actually winning in the playoffs for Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't have to do anything else.
Okay, I hate to tell you this.
He's got 1 Super Bowl.
The only thing that matters is winning in the playoffs, Dan.
Mike, you made a comment about you didn't care how many MVPs Burrow won as long as he's winning Super Bowls. How many MVPs does Rodgers have? 3? 2 in a row now. Three total? Or?
Yeah. How many times did he win the MVP?
Oh, great. He's got MVPs, but what does that prove? What has that done for the team?
Not a
That's
damn
an individual award.
Aaron Rodgers is an individual player.
He's an individual player. He's acting like an individual player.
You can say that, and that's fine. This man hasn't thrown more than 11. This man hasn't thrown more than 8 picks since 2011.
But that's the kind of crap that gets him an MVP award.
2010.
Yeah, that's MVP stats. That's awesome.
MVP stats right there.
Yeah,
that's a go. That's
awesome.
That's SB awards. That's an SB automatic SB award.
I hate to tell you this, but goat shit's winning Super Bowls and getting the Super Bowls.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw would be the best quarterback of all time if that was the case. Give me a
Actually, he wouldn't, but he is one of the 10 best that ever lived. Because
I think in the last 5 years, Garoppolo's been to more Super Bowls than Rodgers has.
I think so too.
I think so too.
And Jimmy's been completely useless.
You're losing
this team is won in spite of him.
You
just told us
you're very smart, but you're losing. You're like you just jumped on the Titanic.
Hell no. Anyone who mentions Jimmy anywhere is confused.
I never mentioned
now
Jimmy.
Realizing there's no more life rafts on the boat.
It's awful.
I don't remember mentioning Jimmy in any list.
No, you didn't.
No,
I'm the only one who did.
He was mentioned today disgusts me.
Well, what disgusts me is the fact this. Aaron Rodgers is top 10. Jimmy Garoppolo's not to me, but the fact that you have to sit here and argue who's better between Jimmy Garoppolo and Aaron Rodgers for 15 minutes tells me Aaron Rodgers can't be that great.
Exactly.
That tells me I'm
Arguing
talking
is
to a
Jimmy
couple of goons who
Garoppolo.
don't know what they're talking about.
Hey,
It sounds
you
awful.
never had to say a word about Jimmy Garoppolo. I never would have said a word because obviously Aaron Rodgers is better. I'm just telling you this. When it matters the most,
All right.
Jimmy wins.
That's his number 3 pick. He can live with it. He'll live and die with it, but that's okay. We got everybody's number 3. Mike,
I haven't. Have you, Steve?
yeah, I
Steve
said Joe Burrow.
Yep.
All right, my number 3. I just put Burrow 1 through 3. Now, number 3 for me is Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills. I think he proved last season that 2020 was not a fluke. He was hurt by a slow start to the season, held a loss to the Steelers at the start of the year. And losing the playoff game against the Chiefs, I'm not going to hold against him because that's the defense's fault. He couldn't have done anything more than what he did in that game. But I think this is one case which, it's not like he lost 13-10 to Jimmy Garoppolo. He lost the game, and I think in that loss he proved how great he was with those last-second throws. He did everything he was supposed to do. He was let down by his defense, and especially his defensive coordinator, who for some reason continued to probably play cover 2 against the Buffalo Bills or against the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't do that and win. So my number 3 is Josh Allen. Who's your number 2, Steve?
My number 2 is, out of respect, the fact that he's coming back, and I still think he had a great year last year. He's going to have to prove to me that he's going to finally wind down, but I went with Tom Brady. I just, again, the top 3 to me were it's so interchangeable as far as I'm concerned. But, how many times has Tom done this year in and year out? And I don't think he's a guy that would go into this season if he didn't think he could compete at the highest level and help his team and get back to the Super Bowl. I think he came back for one reason, and that's to win and get his team back to the Super Bowl again. And that's why he's back. Otherwise, he's got more money than God. He's got a beautiful family. He's got a $20 million career in broadcasting coming up as soon as he wants to step down. There's no reason for him to do it other than this man just knows how to win Super Bowls and wants to win Super Bowls. I give him that. I give him the respect. I don't think Brady's a guy who's going to ever start sliding down his hill, his mountain, like Rodgers has slid almost all the way down it. He's back down to base camp now. But I think Brady's just before he steps off the precipice to go down, he's going to stop and say, that's it. I'm not taking another step. And until he does that, you got to put him in the top 2 or 3 of any ranking you have.
I agree. I have Tom Brady at number 2 also. I could also put Tom Brady at number 1. He's the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. He's been to 10 Super Bowls. He won 7 of them. The dumbest argument I ever heard was Terry Bradshaw and Joe Montana went 4-0. I would rather go 7-3 in Super Bowls than 4-0. I'm sorry. He got there 6 more times, won 6 more championship games than anybody that ever has. And I think that it leads to the ultimate conclusion, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl. Dan, who's your number 2?
Number 2, I'm going to go Josh Allen. And Allen could very well be number 1 on this list. Like you guys have been saying, these top 3, 4 guys, 5 guys, kind of interchangeable.
Except for Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers with your list.
Aaron Rodgers,
yeah, sure.
Take those 2 out, and you got we buy your shit.
Perfect. So,
I could even buy Patrick Mahomes because I think I had him at number 5 also, but I just don't buy the Aaron Rodgers.
I did number 5. So.
Yeah, we all had him at the top 5.
But yeah, no. So I'm gonna go Josh Allen too, Mike, for a lot of the reasons you said earlier. He stepped it up, showed that the previous year wasn't a fluke. We need to see him take that next step. And that next step is winning a championship. The team is ready.
But I really will give him this. I really do think that the defenses would let him down. I mean, he played his ass off in that game. And I mean, the difference between the Bengals and the Bills last year was the Bengals defense was much better than the Bills. Nobody realized it until the end of the season. Hell, I didn't realize it until the end of the season. But the Bengals defense was just much better. Steve, did you give number 2? You gave Brady also, right?
Brady also, yeah.
Brady, yeah.
And who'd you give, Dan? Josh Allen?
Josh Allen, yep.
I've got number 1, Joe Burrow. It's not a homer pick. And like I said, you can read an article I wrote 2 years ago. His field vision, he reminds me of a Joe Montana, Tom Brady type guy. He doesn't have an enormous arm. He's not extremely fast, but he knows how to win football games. And I think the great thing about him, and see, this is the crux of everything with me when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. All right. I can explain this in this. Joe Burrow elevates everybody around him. Aaron Rodgers elevates himself. Joe Montana elevated everybody around him. All right. This is the thing. Brady, Montana were great because by them being on the team, everybody's confidence went up. All right. I don't think, put it like this, when you see guys that have played with Aaron Rodgers, they don't speak glowingly of him. When you see guys that played with Joe Montana and Tom Brady, they do. All right. To me, that is the first sign that a man is a leader. You cannot be an all-time great quarterback unless you are the leader of the team and you elevate the team. I think Aaron Rodgers, all-time, talent-wise, is a top 3 guy to ever play the game. You know, I think Dan Marino was too. But you know what? You don't see many guys, Dan, to play with Dan Marino, to talk about how they love to play for him and how they love that guy. And I've interviewed multiple Patriots that played with Brady. The guy that stood out to me was Mark Edwards, who was the fullback on the first team that they had to win the Super Bowl. And I interviewed him. And he said, you know, the thing that was awesome about Brady, he said, there'll be 90 guys in camp at the start of the year. He said within 3 days, Tom Brady has walked up, asked them about their family situation, if they had kids. And he said all 90 guys, 3-4 days into camp, Tom walks up. He knows their name. He knows their wife's name or their girlfriend's name, their kid's name. Aaron Rodgers is not that. Brett Favre was not that. Those were me guys. Those are guys that are not going to help the rookie that came in. All right. You've never heard Tom Brady say, I'm not going to help this guy who came in. You know, you never heard Joe Montana. I mean, he didn't get along with Steve Young, but Steve Young was kind of already a ready-built quarterback when he got there because he started for the Bucs a few years. He played in USFL for a few years. This is what I'm trying to get through to you. And I think it's kind of what Steve's trying to get through you too. Steve played with Isaiah Thomas. Now, my question is this, Steve. You thought you'd win every game because you had Bobby Knight and Isaiah Thomas, and one of them was going to figure some shit out. I don't think Aaron Rodgers gives the guys on his team the same feeling. I think they know he's great and he's going to make plays. But I bet you this, Aaron Rodgers probably doesn't know a lot of the backups' names. I don't think Aaron Rodgers really gives a shit. I think Aaron Rodgers, when you watch him on interviews, he only gives a shit about himself. That's why I would never put him in this top 5. I think he has a tremendous talent. I think he throws the ball as well as I've ever seen. Never seen anybody throw a Hail Mary pass like that. Everything he does it better than Tom Brady, doesn't he?
Does it better than damn near anybody.
Okay. You know, Peyton Manning did pretty much everything that a quarterback needs to do better than Tom Brady. But you know what? When they play Tom Brady, they fucking lose. Because Tom Brady is a guy that knows he's going to beat your ass. Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, no, they're really good. And they believe they're going to beat you. The difference in belief and knowing is everything. That's why I wouldn't put Aaron Rodgers with the Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. I think Josh Allen's the same way. I think guys on the Bills, when Josh Allen goes on the field and there's a minute left, they know they're going to win that damn game. You know, the Packers do in the regular season. But how many times have we seen him come up short for the last decade? That's my question. So that's why my number 1, I'm just going to call it a tie between the old fart and the young fart. And I really believe that Tom Brady's career will end in the Super Bowl, losing to Joe Burrow.
All right.
And it'll be a tremendous game. It'll be great ratings. But if you think about it, all great quarterbacks, just like boxers, you know, there comes an end at every point. Most legendary boxers, last fight or last memorable fight was a fight where they fought another dude that was a legend and they came up short. You know, you had Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano. You had Jack Johnson, James Jeffries. You had Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes. To me, the perfect ending for Tom Brady is to lose to the Bengals or the Bills in a great slugfest, and he turns over the mantle to Burrow or Allen. I think that is poetic justice, so to speak, instead of Tom Brady just coming out throwing 30 interceptions this year and going 3-14, which could always happen. But to me, I mean, I think that Allen, Burrow, I think those two guys have the it factor. Very few guys have the it factor. And I think the Colts had Andrew Luck. I think Andrew Luck could have had the it factor, but the Colts screwed it up. John Elway had the it factor. He made you believe you were going to win no matter what. But, Steve, who you got at number one?
Well, first, I want to congratulate you on your 20-minute ripping of Aaron Rodgers when you were supposed to be talking about your number one pick.
I did. I already talked about my number one pick.
Oh, yeah. After you got a 20-minute dissertation.
But I also slipped in Joe Burrow at the end, if you noticed how I did that.
Why poor Dan thinks you think he's an asshole dumbass for
I don't think he's an asshole dumbass. I just think that he is somebody that tends to be late to the party. Go ahead. And, I mean, he's late to the party on the shows. He's late to the party with everything. Remember last year, I remember saying halfway through the season, Joe Burrow's a top 5 quarterback. And you told me that makes me want to puke.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I was disgusted because at that point, the man led the league
in the top 5. But the thing is this, I was right at that time.
Anyway, an hour and 16 minutes into this, my number one pick.
Oh, come on. You've done a NASCAR show that went 17 days one time, and you talked for 16 of them.
And we got smart, and we keep them all under an hour now. So,
but we didn't. It's been a while, and I missed Dan. I wanted to talk shit to him.
Good. I just think that I think his team's built for a monster year. I think he's built for a monster year. They're going to be dangerous all season long to play, but my number one pick right now this year for 2022 is Josh Allen right now as it sits. I mean, it could change next year. Next year, I expect it to be Joe Burrow. But I just think, and again, we go back to the same thing. Top 3 are pretty much interchangeable. But I think Josh Allen's the guy who's going to have the year this year. He's got tenure under him. He has not won anything big yet, but there's
don't you have to be in for 10 years to have tenure?
He hadn't been in for 10 years.
I know. Don't you have to have 10 years to be tenured?
No. I think 3 to 5 is a good number.
I don't know. Then why did they call it 10-year? Why don't they call it 3-year?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a damn good question. That's why I'm the host.
Corporate does not pay me enough to figure that out, so I cannot figure that out for you. Anyway, I went with Josh Allen.
Pay you enough to figure that out, Steve.
I went with Josh Allen as my number one quarterback for this year, for 2022.
So we've got Dan picked Aaron Rodgers.
No,
my number one is Tom Brady.
I know, I'm just screwing with you. I thought we could have that debate again.
My number one's Tom Brady. Damn goat, led the league in passing, 43 touchdowns. I don't know how this guy does it, but it's Tom Brady until it's not.
All right, what do you guys think? NFL South preview or AFC South preview next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock? Don't you usually do the NASCAR show at like 10?
I request that we hold the Colts and the AFC South to a later time slot so they get some more visible airplay than sticking them number one. By the time we get done with this crap, they'll be forgotten, and I don't think the Colts need to be forgotten.
All right, so AFC South it is next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock.
That went well, didn't it?
Yeah.
We got to start somewhere. I was either going to go AFC
start with
South.
The NFC South.
All right, we'll go NFC South next Wednesday. Let's call it 8 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, I got a NASCAR show right after that. So
what time?
Those guys all have kids, and they put their kids to bed, and they all.
Okay, so you're going to go like 10, so we'll be all right.
They go late. It's the good old boys drinking beer and talking NASCAR.
All right, guys. Also, I want to remind you, at 10 o'clock tonight, we'll have a special edition of Inside Boxing Weekly as I have John Raspani and Jerry Fitch, co-authors of A Few More Rounds, a boxing book. Make sure you check us out there. And also tomorrow, me and John Raspani will be live with our normal Inside Boxing show where we will look back at last week's fights and preview the upcoming fight between Kubrat Pulev who is actually a distant relative of Dan's, who will fight Derek Chisora this Saturday in London, England. So make sure you check us out there. And also Monday at noon, I will have a Boxing Legends show where I will be interviewing former middleweight contender Michael the Silk Alajide. So make sure you check us out there. Dan, where can we follow you on Twitter?
I am at DB Talking Sports. D as in Dan, B as in Bob.
All right. Steve's at S Risley 34. And now go follow the Grilling Truth at Grilling_Truth, as we now have a new Twitter handle and lost our 27,000 followers. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap the show up. Make sure you check out betting.net. Betting.net finds the best place to bet for you. Betting.net offers expert user reviews for every online sportsbook and casino in your state. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. Also, go check out DraftKings, and a link in the description to the YouTube video and the Facebook video for our top recommended site to bet on NFL. You can bet NFL futures. Maybe we should do an NFL futures show and look at who we would bet on to win the Super Bowl next Wednesday. And we could do a NFL MVP. You like that? Dan likes it, so we'll do that.
Like that too.
I'm game. I'm easy. That's fine. If that's what you want to do.
All right. All right, guys. We'll be back on the NFL show next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. But for now, for Dan, Kornhauser, Steve Mountain Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You are watching and listening to The Grilling Truth, where the legends speak.